I'm bored. Let's debunk the Birdman. So the Birdman is an absolute grifter, and it's fine time that I debunked him for being based AF. And I'm not going to say the AF part because it's too early in the video. All right. I'm just kidding, you guys. Look, I get a lot of comments from people telling me to watch videos from the Birdman and react to them, but here's the problem. I watch almost every video that he makes. So what I had to do is to go through over the last few months to try and find one that I hadn't seen. And this is the only one that I missed. I don't know how I missed it. I saw clips from it, but I didn't see the whole video. This is the only one. And this is from like 2 weeks ago. So what we're going to do is something a little bit different today. We're going to watch a video from the Birdman, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. Shout out to the Birdman. Let's get into this video. All right, so there's a problem here, and the problem is I haven't liked the video yet. So let me go ahead and do that. Let's get into this video, exposing the grift. The critical drinker copes about James Gunn. And here we go. Let's check this out.
The critical drinker. The quintessential chud anti-woke loser that found an audience grifting. What could he possibly be talking about today? Do my eyes deceive me? Is a known liar trying to call out someone for supposedly lying? And I'll save you the suspense. He's calling James Gunn a liar for the quote I shared in my last video, the one where he states clearly that Superman doesn't need to make 600 million to break even.
Yeah, this was one of the things that we had to deal with a lot between the live streams and on my, like, I talked about this so many times on the Nerdcast, and I can't tell you how many comments I got from people who were disputing this. So before he ever made this statement, they were like, oh, it needs to make $1 billion actually to be profitable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We saw these articles coming out where the numbers just kept going up and up and up. So when he came out and corrected it and said, no, this is not true, then the goalpost moved. Now it wasn't just that they needed $1 billion. It's also that James Gunn and people associated with DC are lying about how much money it needs to make. It was weird.
A well-worn talking point on the internet concerning the box office. If you're new, basically uninformed people say that movies have to make 2.5 times their budget in order to break even. I have debunked this already multiple times.
Yeah, it's annoying. Trying to explain to people that they don't understand so many elements of the business of movie making, that even the stuff that I'm doing where I go through and I provide like it needs this, and this, and then that equals that. Return on investment is the only thing they care about. No matter how many times I make videos explaining that, and I've had to do it multiple times now, they just keep going with the grifter chud stuff where it's just fucking surface level bullshit.
But finally, an actual filmmaker comes out and states clearly that this isn't the case, and that ruined this talking point for grifters, and they are now reeling, trying to spin this. The critical drinker tried to say exactly that last month, and I ratioed him into oblivion. He's now back attempting to defend that position, and, well...
I'll tell you what, should we do a wellness check on Superman, see how it's doing at the box office? As of today, it is currently sitting at 583 million worldwide, and it's about to go to digital tomorrow, I believe.
One of my
Friday the 15th.
Favorite things to notice is all of the accounts that are tracking it have all had to reduce the numbers per week. In terms of Superman is guaranteed to break, once upon a time it would have been maybe 700, then it lowered to 650, and then 630, and then 620.
Yeah, that's how tracking works. I'm not sure if Birdman's going to get to that or not. He probably will because he's based, but that's not how tracking works. Tracking adjusts as the weekends go on. So yeah, the tracking either goes up or down depending on where the movie is at that specific moment when they're doing the numbers. So it's a little silly for people that do this film thing for a living to act like that's weird. That's a little silly.
The latest one obviously being 600. It's definitely getting past 600. It's are you guys sure?
No, it ain't.
Are you guys sure?
We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and I said, at this point, I don't think it's going to get anywhere near 600.
I mean, it's releasing on digital now. It's fucked.
Welcome to 2025, guys, where as of Saturday, August 16th, Superman is available digitally while it is still in theaters.
Right.
You guys are acting as if we don't live in a post-COVID world, and it's fun to watch you people publicly shit yourselves when you try to broach this topic. Your talking points haven't evolved since Gamergate was a thing. I
also want to point out that the last time I checked, the industry expects movies on VOD to pick up another 50 to 100 million for the movie on at home sales. what you would do now is you tack on the lowest possible number, which would be another 50 million added to whatever the box office is. So take that, whatever it ends at when it leaves the box office, and tack on at least 50 million unless otherwise stated. So like if it's otherwise stated that it made 38 million, then you would tack that on. Or if it made 75 million, you tack that on. But those numbers don't typically get released. It's just the industry analysts that are like, this is the average that it makes. You can double check all that math.
Hilarious. To suggest that this film won't get anywhere near $600 million when it's currently near $600 million should demonstrate to everyone watching how unattached to reality you people are. Since its fourth weekend, the film has been pulling in close to $13 to $25 million per week. The movie's sitting $13 million shy of the $600 million milestone, which means it should coast past that mark right around August 25th, maybe even a little sooner if the legs hold. Whether the film will still be in theaters by the 25th is something I don't know, but the AMC nearest me has Superman showings at least until the 20th. What I'm saying is, these already spoiled milk takes are going to age even worse.
Too fast.
Have you seen the everyone?
Sorry, Birdman.
Everyone knows.
I tried to give you 1.25. It's too fast for
that
me.
it's fucked in the box office and it needs to boost, sales and everything.
Wrong, Mauler. I don't know what year you people are living in, but again, we are all living in a post-COVID world. Since the pandemic, films have been releasing on digital and streaming platforms about 30 to 40 days after a film's initial.
I actually used this same, I don't remember which video it was, but I actually used the same article. And like, you can look this up. It's like one of the first ones that pops up when you look at theatrical windows now, like post-COVID. It's the first thing you look up. And the only outlier to this is Disney. All the other studios have kind of stayed in line with each other, even though theaters have been like, give us 45 days. A lot of studios have not been giving them 45 days. It's been less than that. And theaters are saying, we'd like to have 45 days. Disney is the only one that has really significantly increased the amount of time they're keeping movies in theaters before putting them out on VOD. They're the only one. They're an outlier.
Release. In fact, IndieWire found the average to be about 30 days as of 2023. Superman's initial release was July 11th, and they released the film digitally yesterday, August 15th. That's exactly 36 days, perfectly in line with the trend that has been a thing for years. Look at the films on the screen. I don't think it's controversial to say Minecraft and Jurassic World Rebirth were financial successes. Minecraft initially released April 4th of this year. Its digital release was May 13th, 39 days after its theater debut. Jurassic World Rebirth released in theaters July 2nd of this year. Its digital release was August 5th, 11 days ago. That's 35 days after its theatrical debut, a day shorter than Superman's, and that film is still in theaters.
It's a narrative, man.
Lilo and
It's a
Stitch are an
narrative.
outlier because Disney has the widest digital release window of any of the big studios.
It's so funny. No wonder people tell me they're like, you and the Birdman should collab together. You should do a stream together. I would love to. I've streamed with Birdman on the showcast. Like we've streamed together on a podcast. I would love to either jump on a stream with him or him jump on a stream with me and we just talk about this because it's so funny. Like this is exactly the same thing that I've been saying over the entire month of August. Like we're literally on the same wavelength here. And the reason why that is, everybody, is because this information is readily available on the internet. It is readily available. All of this stuff you can research yourself and find out, which tells me, and I'm sure the Birdman knows this as well, is that they should know this too. This is information that they should know, which means they're overlooking it on purpose. So there's only two possible paths here. Either they are inept and unable to do the job that they're trying to do on YouTube with like bringing you guys movie criticism and stuff like that with factual and actual information, or they know that it's here. They know this information is available and they're purposely leaving it out. Those are the only two paths you can take. So are they bad at their jobs? Are they liars? Are they putting one foot on each path? Maybe.
They have a mandatory 45-day release window. For transparency's sake, Lilo and Stitch's release window was 60 days,
Right.
2 weeks longer than their mandatory window. And no, this outlier doesn't say anything because Brave New World and Thunderbolts both had 60-day theatrical windows, meaning no, Mauler, your point doesn't have any merit. Your position may have had some merit in, say, 2016, but this is not how things work today.
Right.
And I'm amazed that you people that talk about film all the time don't know this information already.
When asked why they be releasing now, he said, James Gunn on why Superman is going to digital so soon. Well, It's very complicated. But the truth is, it's because of Peacemaker. I originally thought Peacemaker was going to be coming out next month. There was a lot of things that are beyond our control, so the Peacemaker's coming out now. And at the end of the day, I want everyone to be able to see Superman that wants to, even those people who couldn't get to a theater before Peacemaker. And that's really the reason for it.
What bullshit.
What bullshit.
In control. He's in charge of DC.
He's not in charge of the way they release things, though. Birdman might get to this as well. I've already looked this up. There are 2 different departments within Warner Brothers that work with each other for release schedules for film and TV. And Peter Safran and James Gunn are not the head of those departments. They're separate departments altogether. So yes, he may have some say in it because of his position at DC, but he is not the final person to say yes or no to these things. That's the truth. And also, they know that. Or again, they're all stupid and they think James Gunn is the king. He's the ruler of Warner Brothers. And he makes all decisions for Warner Brothers. Are they that stupid? They believe that he makes decisions for every department? No. He oversees the creative stuff in the DC Studios brand. Peter Safran oversees the business side of it. Those are the jobs they have. He's not in charge of like release when something gets released on digital or whatever. That is something that has to go through the right departments, get to the right people, and then get approved by people. He doesn't. It's not like James Gunn goes, "That's coming out August 5th. Done, 100%." No, there's other things that have to happen for it to get there. And to think that he's some sort of king or ruler over Warner Brothers release schedule, that's another level of just incompetency.
I'm out of control. I'm just the boss.
Don't believe his lies. So just
You've said before many times, like James Gunn lies constantly.
These people have zero evidence that this was a lie. His words just don't fit whatever narratives they've been attempting to spin, and here's the cope session. They say that Gunn has control over when a film leaves the theater and when the show's released.
Right.
I don't know why you people think Gunn can simply override the whims of WB, but even Kevin Feige can't do that over at Disney. Gunn controls the creative direction of DC projects. He can hire or fire a director or writer. He can shape the overarching narrative. Hell, he can even decide what costumes the characters wear.
Exactly.
What he does not have control over is distribution, aka release dates, which is a decision made by the studio itself. Gunn has input for sure, but the decision is ultimately above his pay grade.
I don't know, like, I feel as if, is this the way the video is going to go? Like, we're just literally on the same page about everything. It's crazy to me. It's crazy because, like, this is information that both myself and the Birdman and anybody out there can research in like 5 minutes. Like, you don't even have to dive that deep. You can go in and say, like, who controls the release schedule? They have an entire department for that. There's an entire department for it. Like, it's not like it's one person. There are multiple people working in a Warner Brothers distribution division. Multiple people.
Disney's previous CEO gave insight into how these types of decisions are made when the studio came under fire for releasing Black Widow on Disney Plus and in theaters during the pandemic. As you can see, he states the decision was made with all of the leaders, including the CEO of the company. And last I checked, WB CEO was David Zaslav, where on their own website, it clearly states Zaslav is the one that sets the strategy.
Well, when he was trying to say, like, someone had tweeted at him saying, like, is it true that, it's going to have to make at least 650 to break even? And he just comes back with, well, anyone that says that is just clearly doesn't understand the movie business. We would never open a new franchise with something that had such a high break-even point. Provides no other explanation or evidence.
Does he need it to? Like, that's his word. That's what he said. Like, so you are saying that he is the boss and therefore he controls distribution completely, but he's also somebody that has no power to make decisions about, like, when it comes to the creation of the film he's working on. How can he be in charge of everything in Warner Brothers, but also not capable of being responsible for the thing that he's actually working on?
That is fucking amazing coming from the dipshit that wrote this tweet. Where was your evidence, Will? You're just some guy that whines about wokeness in movies every other video. What credentials do you hold that gives you some magical insight into the financials of big studio films? You just tried to say that Gunn has complete control over these films. Now, all of a sudden, he has to provide evidence that these films don't need to hit the arbitrary numbers you morons say they do? And you really expected him to provide evidence on a social media post answering a fan's question?
Right.
I think you people have too high.
Right, like, what is he going to do? Give a financial breakdown? Actually, here's the breakdown. Here's all of our budgets, our receipts. This is what we paid everybody. This is what everything is worth. Our investors put this much money in. Like, what do you want? The full financial breakdown, the spreadsheets? Is that what you need? Or is it just easy for him to say, I've already looked at all this stuff and we don't need that much to break even? Which one is it?
I have an opinion of yourselves because you seem to think that James Gunn is at all interested in debunking the narratives you people pull from your asses on a daily basis.
The truth is, I also hadn't seen the clip here, I don't think, with Drinker and these guys. I don't remember seeing this one. So it's a new clip for me. I saw the tweet, but I don't remember seeing the clip.
That's my job. That dude has a cinematic universe to worry about. As I've stated a million times, marketing budgets and other pre-release financials for films are not public
Say it
information.
again,
This
louder.
is precisely why people saying a film has to make 2 or 3 times the budget.
These are estimated budgets, and they don't take into account all the other stuff that goes into it, whether they got some sort of incentive to film somewhere, or they saved money on some rebate, or they say they had a deal with someone, or the contract from an actor saved them money. Like, these are estimated budgets as they stand without any of that other stuff added into it or subtracted from it.
To break even are lying and spreading misinformation.
Bingo.
Him not telling you exactly how much money the films need to make is standard operating procedure and would likely break some type of NDA and cost him his position if he did so. This is not the piss poor amateur production you pulled with Rogue Elements. This is a proper studio film with lawyers that own boats that cost more than the combined net worth of everyone on this live stream.
And people are so mad about it. This is what I don't get.
Yeah.
Like, people are so fucking determined to defend this movie and claim it as a win. Why? Why is it so important to you?
Why is it so important for you guys to tear down movies? Let's flip it around. Why is it so important for you guys to be right about movies being bad? Like, what does that accomplish? What does that do? Nothing. It doesn't do anything. So you should look in the mirror and ask yourself the same question. Why is it so important that you guys are right about movies being bad? Answer it for yourself.
I could ask you the opposite question. Why are you so determined to attack it and see it fail? What do you gain from a film failing? Oh, that's right. Clicks and views from other people that want it to fail because you're the biggest grifter in this space, and pointing and laughing when something fails is how you make your pathetic living. People want a movie to succeed because that's the normal default position. Why on earth would any normal person want a form of entertainment to fail?
Exactly.
You people live in a bubble and have lost the plot. These studios are trying to make money by giving you a form.
Hold on, I got a shout out to like the Pedro here, like legitimately, like, is that like his real, like, did he use prosthetics or is that his real face? I don't know. That's great. Anyway, let's continue.
Of escapism. You dumb motherfuckers are so tied up in politics and hatred that you see normal behavior from an audience as a problem. On top of all of that, the consensus on this film is that it's really good. So the question I pose is, why do you want really good movies to fail?
Yep.
Will, you're the one that's strange here.
It's a cause to them because they know.
But
if
what is
this,
the cause?
This will be the Superman going forwards because Man of Steel crashed and burned. If this one fails and flops like the others, this one's going to crash and burn as well, and they don't want that. They want this to be the definitive Superman since Christopher Reeve. But it's not. It's shit.
These people, man. What an exhausting, miserable life these people must lead. If that's your opinion on the film, fair enough. But the consensus says otherwise,
Right.
Mr. Reaper. And those
Yeah.
people seem to outnumber you.
Exactly.
Hell, Critical Drinker's own review was relatively positive about the film. But if people like this version of Superman and want it to continue, that's why they would defend the film and want it to succeed. That's the answer to the question. There will always be outliers such as yourself. Hell, Andrew Saris disliked Raging Bull, and he was a far more credible film critic than any of you. He was still outnumbered by the consensus, as Raging Bull is considered a classic by critics and fans.
no one's even like, no one talks about it now. Basically, we're just covering it because we're like wrapping up our coverage of it and the fact that it's going to digital. But like, there's no fan enthusiasm for it as far as.
So why do you care? If no one's talking about it and there's no enthusiasm for it, you should have moved on. Like, you say you're wrapping up your footage, but what are you wrapping it up for? If nobody's talking about it, who would this be for then? What would be the point? These guys are algorithm leeches. They literally leech the algorithm. If you look at whatever they're talking about, it'll either be manufactured stuff that they're talking about because they don't want to talk about anything else that's in trending right now, like the whole as heel versus babyface shit they did like a week and a half ago or whatever. They'll manufacture it, or they will talk about something and you're like, why are they talking about this? Oh, look at the trending tab. Look at Google Trends. Look at YouTube. What is everyone talking about? They will talk about it. That's typically the way it works. That's why you saw Critical Drinker go back and talk about shit from like a decade ago, because he didn't want to talk about any of the stuff that's currently out because he knows that he couldn't milk outrage out of it. So when they can't leech off of something, they have to find another way to make their money. So that's why they do this. But to say no one was talking about it, this is that dumb argument they make when they want to diminish something and try to make it seem like it's a failure. They'll go, no one's talking about it. I don't, besides that, talking about something, having people talk about something outside on social media is not necessarily indicative of success. This is something that Eric July, one of their friends, has talked about. Internet chatter and internet following and stuff like that doesn't equal success. So does it or doesn't it? Does it mean if no one's talking about it on Twitter that it's going to be a failure? Is that the way it works? I don't think that's reality. And they couldn't even prove that. If you asked them to prove that, they couldn't prove that. There'd be no way for them to prove that.
I can see no one's speculating on where it's going to go next or anything. It's just done. It'll be forgotten about within a few weeks.
I know I wasn't the only one to hear what the Critical Drinker just said. I mean, you all heard him say there is no fan enthusiasm for this film and that it'll be forgotten in a few weeks, right? I'm not just hearing things. Where does this guy get the confidence to say objectively wrong things? His fans have blown so much smoke up his ass, he truly thinks the things he says changes reality, like he's Haruhi Suzumiya or something.
He doesn't care.
I think what we learned, we talked about this, Drinker, in DC, the market cap for superhero movies has dropped. It's 500. It's not $1 billion anymore. You can't, there's rabid fans and normies are gone.
Hey, Chris, would you care to explain Deadpool and Wolverine? James Gunn's own Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Across the Spider-Verse? Multiverse of Madness, Wakanda Forever, The Batman, and Thor Love and Thunder? How about the very fucking movie we are talking about? What do you mean 500 million is the ceiling? In what universe do you think the next Spider-Man film is going to make less than $500 million? The next Avengers film that features Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom? Why does anyone listen to any of you people? You just say demonstrably false things.
True, and the whole Jor-El thing, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
I think it's awful. That's just how did that fact still exists in the universe, right? It doesn't matter how the movie ended. The fact that Jor-El sent his son and Lara sent their only son, the last man last Kryptonian, to take over the earth and spread his seed. That doesn't end when the movie ends. His triumph at the end, saving everyone, doesn't change that fact.
Well, we don't know where the story's going. That's the thing. We don't know where that's going. And it's not the first time they've done that. It's not the first time that his parents have not been great people. So you're acting like this is tourism because you're talking about something like, definitively 100%, this has never been done before. Therefore, that makes it an awful thing for James Gunn to change, even though we know for a fact that it has been done before. This has been done previously.
He's effectively the son of Hitler, right?
Well,
I mean, how do you change that or erase that from the minds of everyone? He can't be trusted now.
Oh, so being associated with bad people means you can't be trusted, eh? Chris Gore being completely unaware of the irony of his position while being a regular contributor to the Critical Drinkers podcast is precious.
Yeah, it's an odd one. It really, because people were pulling so fucking hard for this movie to succeed, and they were getting super vicious at anyone who questioned it. Like, how dare you say it's anything less than the greatest superhero movie ever?
Conservatives and things that never actually happen. Name a better duo.
The thing is, Mauler, like a lot of these people get misled by outlets like Culture Crave and Discussing Film,
Yeah,
because they'll post
100%.
something like Superman made 560 million. Its budget was 200 million, completely neglecting that you have to add the marketing on top of that, the studio doesn't get all of that box office revenue. They get 40 to 60%, depending on domestic or international. In China, they get only like 20 to 30%.
Do you see what I mean? These people just spread misinformation
Yeah.
as easily as they
Yeah, they
breathe.
do.
You do not just add marketing on top of that. Listen to yourself. Why are you adding marketing to the initial investment that was used to make the film itself? The only logic you can present that makes any sense is that the marketing is money the studio spent to promote a product in the hopes of recouping the initial investment and should thus count as operating costs.
Right, right. See, I've talked about this too. That's the thing. I forget to even say this anymore. There is a expected loss with advertising, right? When you own a business, and I've owned my own business for like 25 years. When you own your own business and you put money into advertising, whether it be something like posters, flyers, Facebook, Instagram, wherever it is you're putting it, you do that with the expectation that that money may be lost money. And you do that because you're trying to get people to come over and check out whatever you're doing. And then by doing that, you might break even on that marketing cost, and you might pick up customers that keep coming back later on that help grow your business. That's the point of spending money on marketing. It's not a $1 for $1 situation where you're counting it that way, the same way you do like a production budget. That's not how it works. And only people who have never ran their own businesses or never been the boss of a business would misunderstand how marketing works in the real world.
In simple terms, money out versus money in. Here's where that logic breaks down. These movies make money not only from the box office, but from merchandise. I've already explained Disney makes more money from MCU merchandising deals than the entire box office run of the MCU.
Yes.
This means that if you're purely talking money out versus money in, every single MCU film has been an enormous financial success.
Yes.
And yes, that includes the Marvels. The problem is, you people don't think that way. You arbitrarily decide that promotion money has to count in this calculus, but that money earned from the promotion of that very film doesn't count. This is true comedy. To top it all off, you don't even know what the marketing budget is.
Right.
How can you put a number you don't know on top of a number you don't know?
Right. They're doing that whole, it's a rule of thumb. It's got to be 50% of the budget or whatever the fuck their math is. And they don't know that anyway, because I've talked about this before. Where sometimes brand deals are made with companies like, Pizza Hut or something. And Pizza Hut actually pays to do that. They pay to use the IP. They want to put the Avengers on their boxes. They want to put Spider-Man on their boxes. They want to put Deadpool on their boxes. They want that because that helps them. So they either pay the studios to do that, or there's some sort of reciprocal exchange between the two of them that isn't like money paid to anybody. Essentially like saying they would offer something in exchange for the IP on their products where neither company actually pays for anything. So you wouldn't factor that into the marketing budget. It would be an invisible number that doesn't exist. But they don't know this.
Seriously, I challenge anyone watching this video to find an actual source for the actual marketing dollar amount for any of these year's comic book movies, DC or Marvel. You won't find it because it's not public information. Every single person claiming to know this information is either getting their information from Deadline or saying some dumb shit like rule of thumb. I've already debunked Deadline, and the rule of thumb has been debunked by James Gunn. I need people to...
We're on the same fucking page. I literally say that all the time. Like, the rule of thumb is not actual. It's not actual.
Understand this. This conversation has been entirely hijacked by people that do not know the information I just asked for, including outlets like Deadline, whose source is themselves.
Deadline estimates,
the actual truth is that in 2025, giant movie studios don't rely on the box office for revenue they generate per film. Everything counts, from the box office to the merchandise to the digital sales, and this is the game plan.
It's ancillary money. So it's VOD, it's digital sales, it's physical sales, it's like he says, all this merchandise It's theme park sales. It's signing up for their streaming service specifically for a movie that they want to see. All of these things count towards the success of that film.
Why these companies average a 30-day theatrical window. This is why Disney can afford to produce $200 million films and think nothing of it when they do Thunderbolts numbers. Because when they drop Thunderbolts on Disney Plus, they'll just generate another $1 billion in a single month. Would they like for every project they produce to make $1 billion at the box office? Of course they would. They're a business, but these movies are not losing money. In fact, they might be making more per film than they ever have. This conversation relies on people being completely ignorant as to how the film business actually works in 2025. And that's exactly why James Gunn said what he said and why the critical drinker hates him for exposing the grift.
Yeah, 100%. He's right about everything. I mean, you guys just sat through this video. Like, almost everything that I think about this and the information that I have found is spot on to what the Birdman has said here. So it's like one for one. Like, we're literally in the same car driving down the same street, essentially. Or we're driving the same cars. Maybe not in the same car. His car is going to be much nicer than mine, but we're on the same street in a similar car. You know what I'm saying. Let's finish this up. Oh, is that the end? All right, that's the end. All right, shout out to Birdman for these videos, and for everybody, asking me to watch one and kind of react to it. This was the only one that I hadn't watched all the way through. Again, I'd seen clips from it, and probably during the showcast when they were talking about it, but I hadn't watched the whole thing. I'm glad I did. And again, just we're all on the same page about what these guys are doing. We understand what they're doing, and it's very transparent to most of us. And at this point, if people haven't stumbled upon one of our videos in the wild and thought about it, or at least second guessed like what these guys are doing, then I hope eventually they sort of find the water for themselves. I hope that happens, because the issue is that these guys are ruining entire portions of life for people. You have guys that have been watching this stuff since they were in high school and missed out on entire portions of social interaction with people because of listening to these channels. I would go as far to say that I think that these channels ultimately have ruined lives for some people at this point. They've been around long enough. They have zapped away, in some ways, almost a decade of people's lives for this shit. And I don't know how you would hold someone responsible for that kind of stuff, because ultimately people get there themselves. Like they're there watching those channels themselves, but sticking around and being subjected to that and sucking the soul out of their life, taking away the social interactions they would have with people. It's really sad, man. It's really sad. Anyway, great video, Birdman. Couldn't properly debunk you because you're always very based, but I would love to do a stream with you sometime if you would ever want to chat or something like that. Yeah, let's make it happen. Have a great weekend, everybody.